Now, here's the MLB Bro TV show, the best from MLBBro.com with Rob Parker. Let's go.
Sponsored by Hidden Soul. For the most exclusive kicks on the planet, go to hiddensoul.com. Welcome to the weekend. There were so many great stories on MLBBro.com this past week. In case you missed some, we'll take a look back. Let's start here. On Take That, Brendan Carr previewed the MLB Bros who played in the Field of Dreams game.
On Thursday, August 12th, the New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox will travel to Iowa and play at the site of one of the greatest sports movies of all time, The Field of Dreams.
If you build it, they will come.
Well, the MLB built the Field of Dreams to commemorate Old Comiskey Park. You know, the home of the 1919 Chicago Black Sox. But instead of Shoeless Joe Jackson, we got the leaders of the new school, like Tim Anderson and Mr. Batflip himself, Brian Goodwin. We also got the Bronx Bombers, Aaron Judge, and Giancarlo Stanton. This field, this game, is a part of our past. It reminds us of what's good and what it could be again. This is where you come to experience the game in its purest form, where dreams come to fruition.
Baltimore Orioles center fielder Cedric Mullins was named this week's Homeboy after he upped his hitting streak to 16 games. This week's Homeboy is Baltimore Orioles center fielder Cedric Mullins, who hit in all 7 games this week and now has a 16-game hitting streak. On Sunday against Tampa Bay, Mullins had a home run. In his last 7, he's now batting .345, 10 for 29, with 3 home runs and 8 runs scored. In the process, Mullins now has 20 home runs and 20 steals, only the 7th Baltimore Oriole to ever do it, and only one other player in the big leagues have done it this year, and that's Fernando Tatis Jr. In this breakout season, Cedric Mullins continues to rake. That's why he's this week's Homeboy. Manny Brown joined Mark Gray on Debatable for a number of topics this week.
Are the Mets cursed at least for 2021?
The Mets are cursed arguably the entirety of their history. I mean, if we're going to really keep it 100. Listen, as far as the season goes, man, yeah, I know people don't like to bring up curses, right? You know, everybody likes to look at it. It's kind of a hokey thing. But I mean, it's hard not to say that there isn't something going on. Like, it's just like the rash of injuries that we've had. I mean, from DeGrom on down has just been startling. I mean, it just feels like every week there's another significant player that's hurt. Now, Javi Baez, who we got from the Cubs. Of course, Javi Baez gets hurt when he goes to the Mets. Of course. If that doesn't tell you the Mets aren't cursed, that we get Javi Baez and instantly, I know he was hurt with the Cubs still. He was dealing with some nagging issues. But, you know, the fact that he automatically puts on the blue and orange and he gets hurt, that should tell you everything you need to know about the Mets.
You can't piss off the baseball gods, and y'all pissed off the baseball gods.
Bro, you need to know this week. Former Braves third baseman Terry Pendleton. Switch hitting third baseman Terry Pendleton is a bro you need to know. In his 15 Major League seasons, he made it to the World Series 5 times. Pendleton broke in with the St. Louis Cardinals in 1984, but most remember him for his work with the Atlanta Braves. In fact, 1991 with the Braves was his best season ever. Pendleton batted .319 and had 187 hits, both of which led the National League. He also had a career-high 22 home runs and a career-high 8 triples. Best of all, he became the National League MVP that season, edging out Barry Bonds by just 15 points. That same year, Pendleton was also the Comeback Player of the Year, and he won the National League batting title. In all, Terry Pendleton played 15 years in the big leagues, was an All-Star, won 3 Gold Gloves, and was inducted into the Atlanta Braves Hall of Fame. That's why Terry Pendleton is a bro you need to know. Make sure you subscribe, share, like, and rate the MLB Bro podcast /mixtape.
Rundown, the rundown. You're gonna have to be nimble, running around the bases like a 10-range triple. If you're not paying attention, there's a few guys I'd like to mention. If the season was a wrap, Michael Brantley would be the batting champion. He's hitting .329 and that's a career high. But the man's batted over 307 times in his career that spanned 13 years. He's the ultimate professional, Black Knight into gear. Cedric Mullins is not far behind. He's hitting .320 with a WAR 4.5, fifth in the league in batting. He rerunning like what's happening. And Marcus Simeon's presence on the infield at second conjures memories of Joe Morgan, Big Red legend. Big Red Machine, hedging. Big Red Machine, unbeatable, never defeatable. 20 homers, 20 steals, already for CM Storm. A stick of dynamite, keeping B more relevant as they try to find a winning light. Simeon leads all of baseball in WAR, and when it comes to his glove game, he has no flaws, just spraying him. And George, like a calico made abroad. Look out for the Blue Jays from now through 2024.
On first to third, Rhett Butler brings us Satchel Paige. Listen and learn.
Last week, a major milestone went largely unnoticed. On August 9, 1971, Leroy Satchel Paige became the first player who spent the majority of his baseball career in the Negro Leagues to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Paige was a legend in the Negro Leagues. He was a showman who backed up his talk with a ridiculous fastball and pinpoint control over a career that lasted 38 years. And who knows how many games and innings Satch or Josh Gibson were considered the two most likely players to break the MLB's long-standing color line. Honestly, Gibson and Paige were too black for the big leagues. They represented the cultural divide that still exists in the game today. Jackie Robinson may have been the best player suited to be first, but don't get it twisted and think he was the most qualified player. Satchel Paige didn't earn his opportunity to play in the majors until 1948. At the alleged age of 42, when he became the first black pitcher to put on a uniform as a member of the Cleveland Indians. Along with Larry Doby, the first black player in the American League, Paige helped the Indians win the World Series, something they haven't done since.
That's our show for this week. I'm Rob Parker. We'll see you again next weekend. And all week long, check in on MLBBro.com for the best coverage of black and brown major leaguers.